जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र शतश्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 2, chapter number 4, the process of creation, text number 12. Shri Shuka Uvacha Namaha Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase Sad Udbhava Sthana Ritayaya Dehinam Grihita Shakti Tritrayaya Dehinam Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane. Shri Shuka Uvacha Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane. Shri Shuka Uvacha Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane.
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya
Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane.
Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane.
Shri Sukha Vacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya
Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya
Gruhita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Gita Sakti Titayaya Dehinam
Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane.
Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane.
Sri Sukha Uvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Namah Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya
Sadudbhavasthana Nirodha Leelaya
Grihita Sakti Titayaya Dehinam
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Antarbhavaya Anupalakshmartmane.
Antarbhavaya Anupalakshya Vartmane. Word to word meaning. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Namaha, offering obeisances. Parasmai, the Supreme. Purushaya, personality of Godhead. Bhuyase, unto the complete whole. Sad Udbhava, the creation of the material world. Sthana, its maintenance. Nirodha, and its winding up. Leelaya, by the pastime of. Grahita, having accepted. Shakti, power. Tritayaya, three modes, Dehinam, of all who possess material bodies. Antabhavaya, unto he who resides within. Anupalakshya, inconceivable. Vartmane, one who has such ways. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukadeva Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who for the creation of the material world accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable." Please repeat this translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, for the creation of the material world, accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole, residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable." Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This material world is a manifestation of the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, and the Supreme Lord, for the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, accepts three predominating forms as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankara Shiva. As Vishnu, he enters into every body materially created. As Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, he enters into every universe. And as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, he enters the body of every living being. Lord Sri Krishna, being the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas, is addressed here as Parah Puman or Purushottama, as described in the Bhagavad Gita 15.18. He is the complete whole. The Purushavataras are therefore his plenary expansions. Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know him, because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. He is called Anupalakshya Vartmane, the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in response to King Parikshit's request asking Shukadeva Goswami to describe about how the Lord is maintaining this world, Shukadeva Goswami is beginning his response. So he is beginning his reply by offering prayers to the Lord and how he is beginning his response to Maharaj Parikshit's questions by offering his respects to the Lord, and how he is offering respects is by a description of the Lord's qualities, where he is saying Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase. So he is describing the Lord as Parasmai Purushaya. Parasmai Purushaya means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Bhuyase means one who is the complete whole. So he is describing the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the complete whole. And what else his qualities? Sad Udbhava Sthana Nirodha Leelaya Grihita Shakti Tritayaya. For the purpose of Sad Udbhava, creation, Sthana, maintenance, and Nirodha, destruction. For the sake of performing these pastimes of creation, maintenance, and destructions, Leelaya, he is Grihita Shakti Tritayaya. He is accepting the three modes of material nature. So this is another aspect of the Lord which Shukadeva Goswami is meditating upon, that he is the Supreme Lord, he is complete, and he is accepting the three modes of material nature for Udbhava, Sthana, and Nirodha. And not only that, he is Dehinam Antarbhavaya. He is also residing within the body of everyone. Dehina means those who are embodied, and the Lord is Antarbhavaya. He is entering into the bodies of everyone, and such the Lord, this Lord is Anupalakshya Vartmane. He is inconceivable. His ways are inconceivable. So Shukadeva Goswami is beginning his response with a description of who the Lord is. So why is it essential to know who the Lord is, who Krishna is? So the Bhagavatam is full of pastimes of the Lord and his different activities. But before getting into the pastimes of the Lord, it is essential to know who the Lord is. Why is this essential? So in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada gives a small description about what material consciousness is, where he says, So Prabhupada says, material consciousness has two psychic divisions. One is that I am the creator, and the other is that I am the enjoyer. So the reason why everybody is there, we are all there in this material world, is because of this consciousness that I am the creator and I am the enjoyer. So as long as we are in this sort of consciousness, when we read Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's different leelas, we will look at, there is a tendency to view all this also in the same lens, in terms of how I can also enjoy like Krishna. Because that is material consciousness, where we are thinking, I am the creator and I am the enjoyer. I remember once when I met a person, and this was while distributing books. So that person, he was very interested in purchasing the Krishna book. So then I asked him, why do you want to purchase this book? What interests you? So that person said, the personality of Krishna is so full of life. He's always enjoying, and he's unlimitedly enjoying. So I also want to lead a life like that. I also want to lead a life like Krishna. So anyway, he was taking the book, so I did not tell anything. But what we understand from this is that without understanding who Krishna is, when we just read about Krishna's Leela, the tendency is that we also think, let us also enjoy, try to enjoy in the same way. Like, Krishna has, some people give this justification that Krishna has got so many wives, what is wrong if I have got more than one wife? Because of this material consciousness. So, to come out of this material consciousness, first one has to understand who Krishna is. So, whether we look at the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam, or even the teachings of Lord Chaitanya for that matter, the instructions begin with understanding who Lord Krishna actually is. Krishna Tattva. So, even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Rupa Goswami in Dashashwamedh Ghat, there Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Rupa Goswami 4 things. He explained to him Krishna Tattva, he explained to him Bhakti Tattva, he explained to him Rasa Tattva, and the entire conclusion of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In that sequence. So Krishna Tattva means, so without understanding Krishna Tattva, if somebody wants to understand what Bhakti is, or what are the different rasas that Krishna is enjoying, then one will not be able to understand what is the real nature of Bhakti or what is the real nature of the relationship that Krishna is having with the different devotees. That is where, many people, you find them to be sahajiyas, where they imitate Krishna's pastimes because they don't understand Krishna Tattva. So, unless one overcomes this material consciousness, which has 2 psychic divisions, as Prabhupada is pointing out, of being the enjoyer and the creator, one cannot understand the true nature of Krishna's pastime. And if one doesn't understand the nature of the truth about Krishna, what happens is that one again falls down to this material world. So, one category of people who are mistaking or who are trying to imitate Krishna's pastimes as material. And then there is another category of people who think that they can become one with the supreme absolute truth and they are not subordinate to Krishna. Why? Because they also don't understand that Krishna's activities are transcendental. So the Bhagavatam describes that even such people, even though they attain the impersonal Brahman, because they are unable to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, they also fall down into this material world. Because for the impersonalists, they do not understand, because the impersonalists do not understand Krishna to be the supreme absolute truth, they don't understand the purpose of Krishna performing or Krishna expanding himself into so many forms or so many energies. They don't understand the purpose of creation. Why this world exists? Why are there so many living entities? What is the purpose of creation? That understanding is not there. They only understand that this material world is a place of suffering and I just have to come out of this. And how they can come out of that? They can come out of that just by merging into that impersonal Brahman, from which they feel that this entire material manifestation has emanated. So therefore, unless one understands the truth about Krishna Tattva, either he will remain on the material platform by trying to enjoy, trying to imitate Krishna's enjoyment, or he tries to understand the limitations of material enjoyment and tries to put an end to material existence by merging into the supreme Brahman, but without surrendering unto Krishna. But because the tendency to enjoy is still there, he again comes back to this material world. So both the impersonalists and the materialist, because of their lack of knowledge of Krishna, they again come back to this material world. So both in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, what is being taught is that first one has to understand who Krishna is. So here Shukadeva Goswami is explaining that Shri Shri Krishna Rukmani Satyabhama ki, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So for the elimination of this material consciousness, the Bhagavad Gita or Bhakti Yoga is teaching or is giving the knowledge and the practice by which one can come out of this material consciousness. Neither the persons who are trying to imitate Krishna are able to come out of this sort of consciousness, neither are the so-called Vedantists or impersonalists who are not accepting the supremacy of Krishna are also able to come out of this consciousness. Because even if you look at impersonalists, because they think that ultimately I am that supreme Brahman, the conception of I am the creator and I am the enjoyer continues to remain. Even though they are also spiritualists, they are not freed from the conception that I am the creator and I am the enjoyer. Because they are thinking, I am that supreme Brahman, I have now come into this material world, but eventually I have to be reinstated in my actual position as the supreme Brahman. So when they are thinking that I am that supreme Brahman, then how can they be freed from that psychic consciousness that I am the creator and I am the enjoyer? They are not freed from that. Therefore, the Bhagavatam says, again, such people who attain the impersonal Brahman, they also again have to fall down into this material world. So to clarify this, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, which Prabhupada is quoting in this purport, the description of all categories of living entities is being mentioned by Krishna here. So Krishna, somewhere in the middle of the 15th chapter, he says that I am the writer of the entire Vedanta Sutra. Sarvasya chaham hridhi vishno matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarvair ahameva vedyaha vedanta krit veda videha chaham. Vedanta krit, I am the writer of Vedanta. So all these impersonalists, their understanding of impersonal Brahman, they claim is based on the Vedanta. But here Krishna is saying that he is only the source of the Vedanta knowledge. And in these verses 16, 17 and 18, this conclusion of Vedantic knowledge, Krishna is explaining. So in the 16th verse he says, Dvavimau purushau loke ksharashchakshara evacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutasto akshara uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every entity is fallible. And in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible. So Krishna is categorizing all living beings in this world into two categories, Kshara and Akshara. In the material world, every entity is Kshara, means fallible. That is, they come under the control of material nature. And in the spiritual world, every entity is called infallible or Akshara. Kutasto Akshara Uchyate. So those who are in the spiritual world, their position never changes. So these are the two categories of living entities which are there. This is the first statement Krishna is making. Then he says, Uttamaha Purushastu Anyaha. Anyaha means other than these two which have already been described, there is another person, Uttama Purushaha. Uttama Purushastu Anyaha Paramatmeti Udahritaha. What is the name of this other person? His name is Paramatma. And yo lokatrayam avishya. What is he doing? He is entering into these worlds. And what is he doing? Bibharti avyaya ishwaraha. He is maintaining them. The same thing Shukadeva Goswami is also explaining here. Sad udbhavasthana nirodha leelaya grihita shakti tritayaya. For the purpose of creation, maintenance and destruction, he is entering this world by accepting the three modes of nature, and dehinam antarbhavaya. He is also entering the bodies of all living entities. This is how Shukadeva Goswami is also explaining about the Lord. So Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is saying, besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them. So the Supreme Lord is beyond the conditioned soul who is Kshara, and he is beyond the liberated soul also, which are defined as Akshara. So the impersonalists may think, once you are liberated, you are one with the Lord, but it is not supporting the conclusions which the Lord himself is stating in the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is beyond Kshara and Akshara also. In the Bhagavad Gita also, when Arjuna asks that question, what is Brahman? Krishna says, Aksharam Param Brahma. Akshara is Brahman. But here, Krishna is explaining that there is another personality beyond Akshara also. Yes, the soul, the Atma is Akshara. It cannot be destroyed. But beyond Kshara and Akshara, there is another person. That other person is only Paramatma, who is entering into this world and who is entering into the bodies of all living entities. Then further Krishna says, Yasmat Ksharam Atitoham Aksharadapi Cho Uttamaha. Yasmat, because Ksharam Atitoham, because I am beyond the Kshara, beyond the fallible, and Api Aksharatapi Uttamaha, and because I am better than the Akshara also, because I am better than the infallible also, therefore I am celebrated. Athosmi loke vede cha pratitaha purushottamaha. Therefore, in this world and in the Vedas, I am celebrated as that supreme person. Which means that supreme truth, which is the goal of all Vedas, that which is being glorified as the conclusion of the Vedanta Sutra, is not the Brahman, infallible Brahman, but it is the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is beyond this Kshara and Akshara. So if this background knowledge is there, that there are living entities who are conditioned in this material world, there are living entities who are there in the spiritual world, which is a bigger number, who never come down to this material world, but there is one more person who is beyond these two categories of living entities also, which is Krishna himself. Then we can properly understand Krishna's pastimes. The pastimes of Krishna are not like the pastimes of the persons in this material world, because he is a person beyond this material world. Not only beyond this material world, he is a person who is beyond even those who are liberated in the spiritual world. So therefore, this is the understanding of Krishna Tattva, that Krishna is the source of everything. He is the maintainer of everybody, both in the material world and the spiritual world. In the Upanishads also it is stated, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Yo Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. There are two categories of living entities. So this categorization which I am explaining now, or which is being explained in the Upanishads, is different from the categorization which is explained, which we just read in the Bhagavad Gita. So the Upanishads are saying there are two categories of living entities. One is singular and the other is plural. Nityo Nityanam, the singular is also eternal, the plural is also eternal. The singular is also eternal, the plural is also eternal. The plural which is mentioned in this Upanishadic statement refers to both the Kshara and Akshara, which is explained here in the Bhagavad Gita. Because there are unlimited entities which are conditioned and there are unlimited entities which are liberated. So this Upanishadic statement of Nityo Nityanam, here Nityanam refers to both the liberated souls and the conditioned souls. And what is the other quality of both these categories of living entities? Chetanas Chetananam. Both of them have consciousness. So the singular living entity also has consciousness. The plural living entity also has got consciousness. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. But there is a difference. What is the difference? Eko yo bahunam vidadati kaman. This singular living entity is maintaining all the plural living entities. So both the conditioned souls and the liberated souls, they are being maintained by that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which is what is explained here also in the Bhagavad Gita. That the Supreme Lord is only entering these worlds, entering into all the living entities, and He is maintaining them. So we have to understand that the position of Krishna is different from any other living entity. All other living entities, whether in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, are dependent on Krishna. But Krishna is always independent. He is Swarat. That is why he is called the absolute truth. And here Shukadeva Goswami is referring to him as Bhuyase, the complete whole. Because Krishna's existence does not depend upon anybody else. But the existence of the living entities, whether in the liberated state or in the material state, is dependent upon Krishna. This is the difference. So, when all the other living entities want to enjoy, their enjoyment is dependent upon Krishna. If our material desires have to be satisfied, Krishna as Paramatma has to sanction. Upadrishta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha. Krishna is seated in everybody's heart as Paramatma, and He is observing and witnessing and He is permitting all our desires. And in the spiritual world also, when we want to enjoy with Krishna, that also Krishna is only facilitating. So if this understanding is not there, that Krishna is the supreme maintainer, Krishna is the supreme creator, He is the supreme proprietor, then what happens? We cannot be freed from our propensity to enjoy independent of Krishna, even though one may be in the liberated state. That is why Bhagavatam describes such an understanding where service to Krishna is lacking, but the person is thinking, I am freed from material entanglement, as avishuddha buddhayaha. It is contaminated intelligence. It is not pure intelligence. It is not correct intelligence, because that person still does not have the understanding that I am not the enjoyer, Krishna is the enjoyer. The purpose why Krishna is expanding himself into such unlimited forms is ultimately for the purpose of his enjoyment. So in that introduction to Bhagavad Gita only, Prabhupada explains that freedom from this material consciousness means the living entity should not think that I am the enjoyer or I am the creator. He should have this consciousness that I am the cooperator. What is our position? Our position is to cooperate in Krishna's enjoyment. So, that is why Krishna, the understanding of Krishna is not possible through any other form of yoga, neither by karma yoga, neither by dhyana yoga or by jnana yoga, because in none of these processes, this understanding that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer is there. Bhakti Yoga begins by understanding that Krishna is the enjoyer. It begins with this faith that Krishna is the supreme absolute truth and we are subservient to him and our position is to serve him. That's why Shukadeva Goswami here is explaining that Krishna is Anupalakshya Vartmane, and Prabhupada explains that Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know him, because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. He is called Anupalakshya Vartmane, the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. So if somebody is following the process of jnana or dhyana or karma yoga, but he is not progressing to the platform of Bhakti Yoga, such a person, again he has to come back to this material world. Because he is still not freed from that consciousness that I am the enjoyer and I am the creator. That freedom from that consciousness can be given only when one takes the form of Bhakti Yoga. So, this is the training in Bhakti Yoga, where by different activities, by the process of gaining this knowledge, by reading, by listening from a pure devotee in the parampara system, one is gradually trained to become freed from this contaminated consciousness that I am the enjoyer and I am the proprietor. So Bhakti Yoga is teaching us to understand that everything that we see in this world is Krishna's property, and therefore it has to be engaged in Krishna's service, and whatever is happening in this world is happening only by the sanction of Krishna. So practically what we are supposed to do, that the Goswamis have given, we are supposed to practice Yukta Vairagya, Anasaktasya Vishayan. Don't get attached to any sense object, because you are not the owner, you are not the enjoyer. What are we supposed to do? Yatarham upayunjataha. Use it for whatever it is required. Anasaktya vishwan yatarham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya muchyate. And use everything in Krishna's service, because everything belongs to Krishna. So this is how, by taking to the process of Bhakti Yoga, where one first cultivates knowledge about who Krishna is, and then practically starts engaging his mind, his senses, his resources, everything that he sees in the world in Krishna's service. By this process, he becomes trained to see that the actual enjoyer is Krishna. The actual proprietor is Krishna. And I am a part and parcel of Krishna. And by cooperating with Krishna's enjoyment, I can also become happy. Because the constitutional position of the living entity is that he is not the complete whole, he is part and parcel of Krishna. We can also enjoy only when we are connected to Krishna, not when we are independent of Krishna. The impersonalist thinks, I am that complete whole, so he has no connection with Krishna. So because when he is independent, he can never be peaceful. Because this hand, as Prabhupada gives the example, if this hand is separated from this body, or if this hand is not cooperating with this body, if this hand is not giving the food to the mouth, which again goes to the stomach, if this hand is not doing that, then this hand can never be satisfied. This hand can only be satisfied when it cooperates with the body. When some foodstuff is there, you take it, put it into the mouth, the stomach gets nourishment, and by that the hand is also nourished. So we have to be trained to cooperate in the Lord's enjoyment. And for this, only the process of Bhakti Yoga can bring us to this platform. And this is why Shukadeva Goswami here, he is explaining how the Lord's position is different from the position of the living entities, whether in the liberated state or in the material condition of life. So with this understanding, when we practice Bhakti Yoga, then there is no danger of somebody again falling down to this material world, because when we start cooperating with the Lord as is part and parcel, and we start facilitating in the enjoyment of the Lord, we also experience that enjoyment. And when we are also experiencing that enjoyment which we are seeking for, then we will not again come back to this material world. So therefore, it is very important that before one understands the Bhakti Tattva or Rasa Tattva, one has to understand what is Krishna Tattva, what is the true position of Krishna. And only when the true position of Krishna is understood by us, then we will really understand the significance of what Bhakti Yoga is, what are the different activities in Bhakti is, and what is the real transcendental nature of Krishna's pastimes. If this fundamental knowledge of who Krishna is not there, then the reading of the Bhakti literature like Bhagavatam, without the understanding of who Krishna is, it is of no use. That is why Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoilo sarvanash. If you listen to the Mayavadis speaking on Krishna or Krishna's pastimes, then you will not attain that ultimate platform. You will only get destroyed, because we will be diverted from our destination. So this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita or the Srimad Bhagavatam has to be understood through the parampara system. There are several people who have commented on the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, also a few people, but none of these commentaries explain Krishna in truth. And therefore, even though, the impersonalists also talk about bhakti and all, they view bhakti also only as a material activity. They also talk about Krishna's pastimes. But hearing about Krishna from them or practicing bhakti the way they practice does not result in the same destination that is achieved for people who are following this parampara system. So therefore, this understanding of Krishna Tattva, which is given in this parampara, only when we follow this, we can be sure that our journey to that ultimate destination is without any deviation or distraction. And it is not that, once we go there, Krishna says, Yadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. There is the destination where once you go, you don't have to come back. For the impersonalist, even though they attain the impersonal Brahman destination, which is freedom from all material miseries, they again have to come back. They have to come back because why? They have not understood the Krishna Tattva. But if you understand the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam from a pure devotee, then once we reach that supreme destination, which is not the impersonal Brahman, but the spiritual planets which are beyond the impersonal Brahman, then there is no coming back. That is the meaning of Yadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Krishna says, that is my tadhama paramam, that is my ultimate abode. My ultimate abode is not that impersonal Brahman. My ultimate abode are the spiritual planets beyond this material, beyond even the Brahmajyoti or the supreme Brahman. So only a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga who is receiving this knowledge and following the instructions in the parampara system can achieve that platform. And here Shukadeva Goswami is trying to give that same knowledge to Parikshit Maharaj, by which he can attain to that platform. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki.